Good morning, everyone. Today we will be discussing about a topic, infodemic, the growing concern. So it's not actually a topic. I just took the word. It's a portmanteau of two words: information during the time of pandemic. So by linking these two words, information and pandemic, so I would like to give the relationship between these two words. So, to what extent the spread of information during the time of pandemic, especially under the current COVID-19 times, it is creating a challenge not only to the law and order administration but also to the citizens. Sometimes this spread of false information creating panic to the people. So, in that context, I would like to relate this particular information with the growth of the social media. So, in that way, we will be discussing. So, where you can use this information, you can wherever you're using technology and you're relating that with public health, you can use this information. In GS paper 3, we have internal security. In that, we have a topic called as the social media, social networking sites, and their impact on the country's law and order administration. There also you can use this information. So in essays, wherever you require, this information can be used along with the things that I mentioned now. So now let's come to the topic, information, the infodemic, the growing concern. So like as I explained, infodemic means information during the time of pandemic. So why there's a growing concern and what exactly the impact of it and how to tackle it. So in this way, the things will go on. So now, if you see the Director General of WHO, he himself has to mention that now we should not only fight with the pandemic, but we should also fight the infodemic. So, why this particular concern they have to raise? One of the reasons is previously we have seen, suppose for example, in the year 2000 to 2003, we have seen the spread of SARS, and we have also seen spread of certain communicable diseases like MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. So we continuously see like we have this cholera, malaria. These are all the communicable diseases. But the kind of impact right now we are seeing with the spread of pandemic is more comparing with the previous pandemics. So you see here, not only this particular pandemic, if you take anything, take for example, let me give one example of ISIS, Islamic State. We have previously one international terrorist organization, Al Qaeda. Right now we have this ISIS, Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. If you compare these two, ISIS in a short span of time became very successful comparing with Al Qaeda. One of the reasons is their use of the social media platforms. These days, social media platforms playing a very crucial role in terms of dissemination of information. So, in that context, if you see anything, any context, if you take, there the role that is being played by the social media is becoming very crucial. So, in that context, right now we will be discussing about how this corona pandemic creating challenges, to what extent the social media platforms spreading this information. In that way, it is creating a kind of impact. There are both positive sides and the negative sides of it, but here the concern is because of the negative sides of it. So, how to tackle it? So, in that way, we will be discussing now. See, there are certain kind of rumor mongerings. Rumor mongering, that means spreading of the rumors, like when this corona pandemic started. So because social media, there is one fundamental principle of social media. It says the news consumers have become the news producers. Previously we all used to consume the news, but now we ourselves producing the news. Previously we used to have only the traditional channels, the traditional media houses, they used to produce the news. But now every individual, you just need one smartphone and internet connectivity, that's it. So with that, you can easily produce the news and that can even become viral. Sometimes, even if it is a false information, substandard information, still the information can become viral. So we used to see in YouTube, we used to see in WhatsApp, the way the information, the messages that used to be circulated. So in that context, I have come across certain rumors, like suppose if you eat garlic, then corona won't affect you, or traditional medicine will provide solution comparing with the allopathic medicine. It is a bioweapon. Don't eat chicken. Don't drink soft drinks. Don't eat ice creams. Like by simply by using some fake doctors' names, these people will spread some information. This is a so and so doctor mentioned this. or coming up with false press reports. So these all are the major things we are seeing in the recent past, in the WhatsApp messages and even in the YouTube. So this is creating this kind of false spread of information. This is creating a huge challenge along with this pandemic. On one side, the pandemic is contagious. We haven't yet got any final solution for that. There is no full stop. Still, the challenges are going on. They keep on increasing. In this way, on one side, when the pandemic spread is going on without a full stop, on the other side, its social impact. Its social impact is also growing. So we have seen reports like in China, the way the blacks are being targeted, and where suppose for example right now where a lot of Indians are staying outside, even like even to suppose for example the way the Chinese are being discriminated on the basis of their race just because of few people. So what the Chinese who stayed in USA, what they did, what kind of mistake they did. So at the cost of humanity, the racism is getting increased, and we are seeing social boycotting. We have seen some resident welfare association in the northern India, some parts of near around Gurgaon somewhere. They are issuing the diktats. Don't purchase vegetables. Don't purchase vegetables from the so and so religious people or from so and so community people. Or don't purchase fruits. So when these kind of rumor mongerings are going on, so this is ultimately questioning the way the social media is creating an impact on the individual along with the state. So in this context, we should link up this pandemic to the information spread, to the information that is being spread via social media network, social media sites. So to this pandemic and social media, in between we have this internet, because without internet we could not have seen this kind of spread of information. So in this context, the role played by the internet is very crucial. Right now we are in the age of this digital world. The world everywhere we got connected virtually, and the number of internet users day by day they keep on getting increased. So the role played by the internet in terms of spread of information during the time of emergencies, so that is becoming very crucial, how the information is being spread. So that ultimately uh, that ultimately gives its utility. So right now you cannot stop internet. You cannot ask people like to stop using internet, because it has become an essential commodity right now. So in this context, on one side we have to use internet, on the other side how effectively we have to use it. So there comes the challenge. So now if you see the definition goes like this. Like, so this is the definition of pandemic. Infodemic means excessive amount of information or misinformation about the problem. So now if you see how this information is being spread. So here the definition of internet comes. What exactly internet means? The technology that has the power to let everybody in the world to know each other. This definition I have taken from Edward Snowden, from the movie Edward Snowden. So I have taken this information. When he was asked the definition of internet by the CIA head when he was recruited, then he will give this definition. I felt this definition is very fascinating. It gives the crux of what exactly internet means, how much power the internet is having. So with this, with the rise of internet, we are in the age of digital revolution, information revolution. It is literally a mind-blowing thing. It challenges the information hierarchies. Now everybody can access to the information, the good information, the bad, everything they can get access. But previously, we do not have this access. There used to be information hierarchies. Only certain sections of the society used to get the information. Take for example UPSC preparation right now. You are staying somewhere, and even if you are in the hinterlands, it just thing is the only thing you need is just get the access to internet. If you get access to internet, then you can get access to the information. So wherever you are doesn't matter. If you get access, then it is actually challenging the information hierarchies. Previously, information used to be controlled by a certain group of people, but now it is everywhere. The only thing is you should have your smartness to get access to it, to tap it. That's it. So in that way, internet is actually giving a lot of opportunities, but it's a double-edged sword. The sword that is sharp on both sides. If you do like this, the other person can be injured. But if you do like this, you can be injured. So it's a double-edged sword. So it is sharp on both sides. How you're using it ultimately matters. So this internet ultimately is acting as a catalyst for the growth of the social media. Social media is not a new term. Since time immemorial, since the starting of the humanity, we have the social media. That's the spread of information among the group of people, among the society. So, but previously societies used to be like a certain they used to be exclusive societies, but they are all right now interconnected. So for this interconnectedness, the role is being played by the internet is very crucial, because without internet we could not have this kind of connection. Right now you are staying somewhere, I am staying somewhere, but we all got connected with this sharing of information. This is being possible just because we are connected via internet. So in this way, internet is playing a very crucial role or acting as a catalyst for the growth of the social media. India is also not an exception. If you see right now, let me give you some stats here. See the way the Indian social media is growing. We have the smartphone users, the second largest in terms of smartphone users. If you see the data consumption in India, according to this McKinsey report, 8.3 GB, the largest in the world. If you see, the China is the world's largest country, but if you see monthly data consumption, per capita data consumption, that is, the per capita data consumption in India is 8.3 GB per month, whereas in China it is just 5.5. In the case of South Korea, it is hovering around 8 to 8.5. So there is increased internet consumption. The internet density right now, okay, still it is low, but in urban areas it is quite high. In urban areas, the internet density is 97.2. In rural areas, it is a bit low, 25.4. But if you take the overall India's average, still 50% of the country's population is getting access. Of course, the other 50 is not getting access yet, but still there is a possibility. By 2023, as per the predictions, the number of internet users may cross 800 million. So in this context, now if you see everybody, those who got the internet access, they are using the social media platforms. Now you can just understand how the information can flow. If you better regulate it, it's very good for the country and for the individual. But if not, it opens the Pandora box. The genie will be out. Anyhow, we open the Pandora box. You cannot completely control the genie now. You can only regulate it. So in this way, when there is a rise of social media growth in India, then you can see its impact. So we have the positive impact. We all have this. It is busting the myth. It is creating an information revolution, reaching the unreached, opening a new employment opportunities. Now, just if you have the smartphone, it is opening an employment opportunity for you. And we have this for all these teleservices, this internet and the social media, they are becoming very much useful. So in this way, we have good impact of this social media and the internet. But if you see the negative impact, this is creating a huge concern. The first thing is, this is become previously, if you take the case of protests, they used to be located only in one specific area and they are very localized protests. But now, I have seen this, we have seen the recent examples. If in Delhi, if people are doing the anti-CAA protests, that's impact we are seeing across the country. Just because spread of information, spreading with the velocity of light. Next, there is the new trend that is seeing is flash protests. Because if you have to go for the protest, first you have to take permission from the local authorities. But what these people are doing, just by using Twitter handles and Facebook, WhatsApp, they are just texting people because there is a huge virtual connectivity there, and there is a sudden protest. How the law and order administration can tackle this? A big challenge. And sending offensive clips. We have seen that with respect to the northeastern students, when that most of what you call in this Bodo riots in the Bodoland, when the riots took place in the Assam, then the northeastern people who are staying in Bangalore, they received the these messages like we will take revenge. Then all the northeastern people started flocking towards railway stations, airports. All of a sudden, from where they got the messages, difficult to find out, tracing it. And we have seen this Muzaffarnagar riots in 2014, just because of the false spread of some video clips. Because the video clip also later we got to know that it was not in India. It was recorded somewhere outside the country, but it was used as a propaganda tool. But we have faced the brunt of it, and we have seen these propaganda videos. There are individuals who are getting recruited by using Twitter handles by the ISIS. I told you previously how ISIS is using social media as an effective platform to tackle. to spread its propaganda. Then next is there is another challenge here. Traditional media in general, they used to do research and they will give the information, but right now traditional media houses also use depending on the social media to provide information, because we are in the race of TRPs, right? Just to get highest TRP, the television rating point, everybody is depending on the social media, because social media is giving, it is completely flooding with information overload. And in that information overload, sometimes in search of rating, in search of TRPs, the traditional media houses also giving importance to the sensationalism, the viral news. So we are actually missing the real content. We are giving importance whether we are not able to verify, because we don't have the time, because we are in a hurry to get the TRPs. So these all are the negative impacts of this social media. The same we are seeing right now with respect to this corona pandemic also. So everybody wants to spread the information, different ways of spreading information, rather than giving importance to the real content, what exactly the broad analysis of it, because we don't have the time, right? So we all are busy. So we don't, because we will, that's why we give more importance to 2 minutes and 3 minutes videos, because we want to read more and we want to see more. But we are not exactly seeing the comprehensiveness of it. So in this context, this negative impact is quite high. So the rumors will spread very faster. And this is the reason. So we have very customized services. So these all, because the dependence of traditional media on the social media, these are all creating a challenge, especially during time of the pandemic. On one side, because of the lockdown, there is a stress on individuals, psychological stress, mental distress. Along with that, if they see these kind of spread of the false messages, it further creates panic to the individual. In certain places, we are seeing the mass exodus. People are moving from their place to another place. Yesterday, day before yesterday, I have seen one information in the Hindu newspaper, like how this one person, one migrant from Rajasthan, he has to stay at his agricultural plot. So these kind of information are becoming very much viral. Understood that. So because right now our huge dependence on this social media, this is good on one side, but because of this false spread of information, this is creating a huge challenge for us. Now, if you see the kind of services that are being provided under the social media, we have actually three services: push, pull, and engage services. Push means I will spread the information, pull means I will receive, engage means two-way interaction. So, when it comes to individuals, we have the engaging services, two-way interaction. But whereas for the government also should do all the three services. Government should send the good information. Government should tap that means it should observe what kind of information is being spread. It should engage with the people. But whereas in the case of government, right now, it is the push services that are being more comparing with pull and engaging services. So this is actually a challenge. Though we have three type of services, in terms of usage, the government also using more of the push services comparing with pull and engaging services. So this is one information you have to observe, the kinds of services. Next, how to tackle it. So to tackle this, definitely we need comprehensive analysis for this. We have to go for the 360-degree approach. You cannot like just government only alone cannot implement, because right now, after the 2017 Supreme Court judgment, Puttaswamy judgment, right to privacy is a fundamental right. If government comes up with a heavy hand, individuals raise concerns about privacy. At the same time, if government is if the government won't pay much attention, that ultimately creates a challenge to the individual itself. So that's why along with government, individuals, we all has to tackle this information. In what way? First thing is developing actionable intelligence. The information that we are collecting, first we should arrange in a proper manner: collect it, store, filter, analyze. You have to collect the information and you have to properly analyze which is the original content, which is the fake content. So right now, fortunately, we are coming up with some good initiatives, like there are certain websites. If you upload the pic in the website will find out. It will find out the algorithm. By using the algorithm, it will find out whether it is the original content or the doctored content. So these kind of initiatives we have to encourage. These kind of startups we have to give a push, because we have seen this in the London riots in UK and Boston riots in USA. When these riots took place, they used the cooperation between citizen and the government. That became a very successful model. The way they were identified the culprits by using this actionable intelligence. On one side, citizens are cooperating by giving right information to the government. Government also taking this information, this kind of engaging service. So this way, we have to develop the actionable intelligence. Next is, of course, digital literacy. We have to create awareness to the people, which is a real information. We have to first find out. Suppose, for example, sometimes these individual release false press reports of universities. This university will conduct examination for this so and so date. First, you go and verify. And even the government also should react to this information promptly. There should be a quick reaction. So the individuals all should share this with the governmental websites and the governmental social media handles, and they all should react faster. If there is any false information, immediately the government should come and react to that. In that way, if we are able to do, if you create awareness, government is acting, government is doing all the three services. It is going for the push, pull, and interactive services. Along with all, we should have the data protection law. European Union already got it. The EU already got the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations. On the lines of that, because the GDPR is a very good balance of individual privacy versus state security. Right now, we have the Personal Data Protection Bill, but still it's in the Parliament. It is in the both. It is not yet enacted. So, as early as possible, by taking the recommendations of the Sri Krishna Committee, we have to come up with the Personal Data Protection Act. Then, along with that, we need cooperation of these MNCs, because one of the biggest challenge right now is jurisdictional challenge. Facebook is operating in India, but its servers are located outside the country. So, if these kind of things happens, if you do not cooperate, then of course that creates a challenge. So that's why we need global internet governance. The MNCs that are operating beyond the boundaries of a sovereign state. So these MNCs, they have to cooperate, like the way recently Apple and Android platforms, this Google and Apple, they both collaborated to come for this contract tracing. They want to have a common platform to exchange this API. So in that way, we have to come up with global cooperation for this. At international level, at the multilateral level, we have to go over this cooperation. So at the same time, in India also we have set examples for this. So when it comes to statutory provisions, recently with respect to this pandemic, we have this section 54. It strictly says, if anybody go for this false warning, there will be a punishment for them. There are right now certain states, like the state of Telangana, continuously it's announcing. Every day there will be one vehicle that goes, it keep on announce. Please don't spread false information via WhatsApp. So this is actually very good initiative. Every day the law and order administration, the police administration, they arranged one vehicle. In that vehicle, these vehicles will roam across the state. So they are spreading the information. It's a very good initiative. And we also have the social media labs. What is the social media labs experiment of Mumbai police? Whenever if there is any pandemic situation happens, these people will see the social media, that the flow of information, like how people are discussing, which information is being discussed more. But there is a challenge of privacy here, like what kind of information they are tackling. So that's why we have to balance both. We have to use this information. Suppose, for example, take the case of Arogya Setu app. Arogya Setu app, one of the concerns is when the information got collected, to what extent the information will be used. The government should respond to this. So there should be some kind of privacy statement, like the way the Australian government did. Or there should be some balance of individual privacy versus state security, like the EU did, like the New Zealand. So we have to take these international examples, like what New Zealand, Australia, they came up with a very clear statements, like how they want to protect individual privacy along with collection of information. Same is the case with EU. So in India also, while using these kind of initiatives, so we have to come up with a clear statement. See, this so and so information we are using only for this purpose. So we will be coming up with a statutory provision for this. So if you provide this kind of clarity, then individuals also will cooperate. At the same time, individuals also should not be getting panicked with this too much of right to privacy. We should also have the responsibility for our own state. So of course, at the end of that, we need privacy, individual privacy. But if you keep on thinking about only privacy, if you do not cooperate with the government, then the government also should go for this mandating everything. So that's why from the governmental side, there should be transparency. From the individual side, there should be cooperation. If these two things comes, if this kind of cooperation between the individual and the state comes, then ultimately we can tackle these kind of pandemics. We can stop spread of the false information. We can stop the spread of the rumor mongering. So in this way, we can actually tackle these kind of things. But there are challenges when it comes to whenever the government comes up with some kind of statutory provisions, as I mentioned. If the government, we have section 66A of IT Act in the year 2015, the Supreme Court has to cancel it. One of the reasons, because of the heavy-handedness of the government, misuses. There are more misuses compared with the uses of it. So we have these fears like mass surveillance. There are challenges to freedom of speech and expression. We do not have the proper filtering mechanisms. These social media sites, though they have the mechanisms, but they don't want to filter the more content, because if you filter more content, then the outreach will be less, then the profits for them will be less. So these kind of things we have to manage. There should be some regulations for this. And we have this, I told you, the jurisdictions. The companies operate in one country, their headquarters located in another country. Internet governance is required here. And we have this national cybersecurity policy. This national cybersecurity policy 2013, there are not much of points that mentioned about social media policy. So we need a social media policy for this. And though we have the Information Technology Act 2000, it is not able to tackle these legal challenges, like these jurisdictional challenges, these regulatory concerns. So until if these things are not managed, then we cannot expect like these kind of rumor mongerings, fake information, fake news, we can stop. So how to tackle, how to ultimately what kind of recommendations we have to come up with. So we have to come up with the social media policy. There should be clear instructions, like how the individual's right to privacy and the state security will be balanced. There need to be a clear statement for them. That's it. And awareness, empowering the agencies. You have to provide right tools to the agencies. For this, you have to come up with a digital army. Strengthen more number of specialists in the cyberspace. Let us recruit more number of people into the cyberspace and provide clear guidelines to them. Replicate this kind of social media labs experiment of Mumbai police, but taking into consideration of the individual privacy. Cooperate with the private agencies, take the best from them. So until we have this kind of macro framework, as I told you, the 360-degree approach, individual level, societal level, state government level, international level. At all the four levels, we have to cooperate, because social media doesn't have a boundary. We have this information across the globe. So if there is a spread of information across the globe, we need the cooperation of individual, state, civil society, international level, all the four. Until that happens, you cannot stop these kind of things, because now I told you, as in the starting of the session, information previously we used to consume the information. The news consumers became the news producers, because now anybody can produce the news. So in this context, segmentizing, filtering, coming up with a broad policy, but balancing both state security and the individual privacy is the ultimate goal. So with that, we are stopping. Now I am posting one question here. You can answer to this. Social media is a potent tool to keep people informed during the times of emergency. Here we have taken health emergency, but only if we have the effective tools to regulate it. So you have to comment. So what's your opinion about it? So give a broad information in 250 words. So with that, I'm concluding the session. Thank you.